Goeiedag, good day, fellow South Africans and citizens of the world. And I'm going to share with you a story about two people who've been kind of floating just above the corruption, but now I think they've lowered themselves deep in the sewer. One is Pravin Gordhan, the Public Enterprises Minister, and the other is Jacob Zuma, the guy who is now in charge of Eskom. He's the CEO of Eskom. Now, they seem totally unrelated, don't they? You know, Jacob Zuma, he's running Eskom, which falls under Pravin Gordhan. Okay? So just get that connection. And let me explain to you why there's an issue here. Public Enterprises Minister Pravin Gordhan, during his term as Finance Minister, allegedly swept complaints of maladministration and tender irregularities under the carpet when it surfaced that an information technology or IT company, Budge, Barone and Dominick, BBD, appointed during his time as Commissioner at Sars, or South African Revenue Services, was done so illicitly. Documents obtained from two former high-ranking SARS officials, whose identities are known to independent media, suggest that allegations of corruption and instances of financial mismanagement surfaced when he took over the Ministry of Finance after Trevor Manuel's term ended. In the whistleblower's documentation, BBD was awarded a contract without an open tender process but through an exemption. Now, let's remember that incredibly embarrassing interview that the head of IT at SARS gave to the SABC well over a year now. She's just been fired a year later. But this is the same department we're talking about that was involved in this. The same company, through what officials have termed as a dubious open-ended tender process that has lasted from time immemorial, dating to 2006, has access to all the intellectual property of the SARS IT department through a source code which is a base and is used in the development of the IT system. The company is alleged to have handed over the original source code to Revenue Service but kept a copy for themselves without permission, meaning that a private company effectively has access to all taxpayers' sensitive information. The same source code was used to develop the IT systems at Home Affairs, according to the whistleblower. The source code is the initial algorithm used to develop a system, which makes it the intellectual property, because that is what the system is at its foundation. You cannot make changes to the system if you do not have the source code. So let's have a look at how BBD, Jacob Zuma, and Pravin Gordhan are linked through SARS. And then you start seeing this Eskom situation. Okay, this is what's called black privilege. Quite simply, this is a perfect example of black privilege. And the recipient here is Jacob Zuma. You'll notice that BBD, which has this exclusive contract with no end at SARS, is 49.9% owned by Sphere Holdings. And Jacob Zuma holds a 10% stake of Sphere Holdings and is their executive chairman in a transaction approved back in March 2015, according to the company's website. So there is this link, very strong link between Pravin Gordhan and Jacob Zuma, who is now the CEO of Eskom. And he obviously doesn't know what the heck he is doing. This is just a cadre, a mate who's been put in the position, and that's why I can see in February the rand going to junk because Eskom's not going to do anything. You just got mates in there. The whole thing is a cesspool of crap. That's what Eskom is all about. Anyway, getting back to the story here, the whistleblower added, although this looks clean on the surface, there are a number of issues which violate the Public Finance Management Act, or PFMA. These are, and he said, the procurement exemption is in violation of the PFMA in that the PFMA regulations only allow varying of to only 15% of value or scope. This means that the value could only have been increased by 16.5 million rand to 126.5 million rand. Strangely, it now sits at 1.4 billion rand. According to documents, the prolonged exemption has been in place since 2006 without an open tender ever being put in place. As a consequence of the contract, the whistleblower claimed that BBD also owns the intellectual property of the Sars IT department, which could explain why the company has had an open-ended tender with the institution for the last 12 years. The situation has resulted in Sars spending close to 7 billion rand on IT as costs continue to escalate despite there being no tender process. The IT tender was also extended to the Department of Home Affairs. The IT of Sars is in the hands of a private company of which, if the contract is cancelled, BBD will walk away with the IP, which includes the data of every single tax-paying citizen in South Africa, said the whistleblower. When contacted for comment, BBD confirmed that it had a contract with Sars subject to the usual confidentiality provisions, as defined by the Revenue Service. It did not confirm nor deny that it owned or had access to the IP of the Sars IT systems. The firm referred all questions back to Sars. Independent media has also been able to establish the following facts on BBD from available documentation. 1. BBD has been operating in South Africa for more than 30 years and is a 51% black owned. 2. Sphere Holdings owns 49.9% stake in BBD. Jabu Mabuza, the chairperson and chief executive of Eskom, holds a 10% stake in Sphere and was their executive chairperson in a transaction approved in March 2015, according to a report on Sphere's Holdings website. 3. However, at the Zondo Commission of Inquiry, he testified that he held a 6% in Sphere, worth 26 million rand. BBD develops the front-end systems for Interfront, a commercial IT entity owned by Sars. Interfront was bought into Sars during Gordhan's tenure at a cost of 72 million rand without a proper due diligence being followed, according to the whistleblower. BBD was brought into Sars after global firm Accenture won a 1 billion rand contract in 2006. The whistleblower adds, to put this in simple terms, if you look at what happened to the ANC's website, where the people who manage the website own the IP of the site, BBD is in a similar situation, which owns the IP of the Sars IT department. So they've basically got the whole tax revenue system in their hands. They got them by the proverbials. And guess who is one of the major shareholders? Jabu Mabuza, one of the ANC comrades and cadres, and the incompetent fool running Eskom. This information can easily be used to start something like a bank, because they have taxpayers' information on taxpayers is a matter of state security, and it is in private hands. Queries sent to the National Treasury during the course of the investigation found that the department was never made aware of nor authorized to look into allegations of tender irregularities during Gordhan's tenure. This is despite complaints being lodged by former senior Sars executives against the open-ended tender between Sars and BBD. Nothing gets done when it's the ANC upper hierarchy. It's just a complete joke. In response to questions, Treasury said it was not aware and did not conduct a review or an investigation into allegations of tender irregularities and flouting of the PFMA, while Gordhan was commissioner at Sars. The department also denied that any of its officials were complicit in hiding instances of gross financial mismanagement under Gordhan's tenure as finance minister. Sars did not respond to queries regarding the contract despite follow-ups being made. When contacted for comment during the course of the investigation, Gordhan instructed his spokesperson, Adrian Lackey, to send the following response. I am advised to inform you that we will not respond to agents of state capture or those actively working to advance nefarious agendas in the media or public attacks to malign and disrespect the reputations of good, honest people. The Honourable Gordhan, on the take, like every other ANC member of Parliament. They are all a bunch of crooks. I would love to find one member of Parliament of the ANC who is not on the take right now in South Africa. He did not respond to follow-up questions sent to his lawyer either. Well, there you go. That kind of sums it up, doesn't it? Okay, now I'm just going to add a bit of substance to this. In the comments under the video headed South Africa, the farcical bond theft going viral on the internet, if you have a look at the comments in there, you will see a comment by Isabel. I'm just going to call her Isabel. You can go and do your own research. And she writes as follows. Scott, read this article. My husband was the lead architect at BBD and worked for the BBD for 30 years. He left in 2009 after seeing how corrupt his boss, Ralph Dominick, was. These corrupt people will just get away with it. The government will set up a commission with beautiful names to investigate, and no investigation will take place. And then another commission will get formed to investigate that commission, and the corruption will continue pillaging the country. Sadly, corruption is happening worldwide, not only in Africa. So this is a lady whose husband, who actually worked at BBD, the company that I was talking about in this video. All right, guys, please remember to subscribe to be kept informed. Ring the bell for the updates. Please like this video. Please share this video. And above all, stay safe. Bye for now.